question is, who are you?
I'm Wink Thompson.
And tell me a little bit about your affiliation with the Fredericksburg Rescue Squad.
Well, when I returned from college back to Fredericksburg to work in my family's business at Wheeler and Thompson Funeral Home, I got into the fire department right away because of my father-in-law. He was a member, and a good friend of mine, Wayne George, he was also a member. And I got running with the fire department, and one thing led to another. I ran some squad calls with Wayne, mainly in the crash truck, and it went on from there. I joined right after that, and I guess the mid-'60s the mid-'60s, maybe 67, somewhere around there, and became a life member, and that was it.
Tell me a little bit about what it was like here in this area in the mid-'60s when you joined. Because this rescue squad appears to be the only one running calls anywhere around here.
Yeah, we ran from Orange County to Prince William County to Caroline County. In Stafford, we were the only squad available, and we ran all over the country, Lake Anna, wherever we were needed. And we started other squads, and that helped us quite a bit in our workload, because we worked a week at a time. Our squad worked a week at a time, and that pretty much wore you out.
Talk a little bit about you said it wore you out, so I'm going to wait for Terry. Did I?
He's got a little hot spot.
Excuse me?
No, we said the light was a little.
Oh, okay. Yeah, speak up a little bit, because I don't hear too well.
Absolutely. You says you did a lot of stuff. I mean, you guys, it was hard. I'm imagining it was really hard work.
Yes, it was, and it was time-consuming, and the runs were long, 7 days, 24/7 was the shift, and by the time you finished that, you were pretty much done. And being a firefighter, they knew who they could get in a hurry. They knew where I lived, and I lived in a city, and they knew I'd be here in 3 minutes, so I got a lot of calls. I got a whole lot of calls.
You weren't getting paid anything to do it, so I mean, you're working hard, getting tired all the time for free.
Yeah, well, I worked for VDOT, and I was in right-of-way division, and we traveled 14 counties. Northern Neck was our territory, and we never got paid overtime, so I would answer squad calls during my working hours with the understanding that, I'd make up the time. And they were very, very forgiving. And several of us worked for VDOT at the time and were able to answer calls.
What did you get out of it doing this?
I got a lot of satisfaction helping my fellow man, contributing to the area, the community service. My uncle started this rescue squad. He was a founding member. I always looked up to him. He was my role model. Sam Perry, I lived across the street from him. I would see him run out the house and get in his car and fly down the street. Another good friend, Jerry Ullman, lived right across the street. So there was 3 of us living on the same street. And we were always running. Sam went every morning faithfully. You could almost set your clock by him. And I admired that, and I was in community service. I was in the funeral business. I was a firefighter, and the next obvious step was rescue, because that's where they needed the people, mainly. I mean, we had plenty of firefighters, but we didn't have that many in rescue. So
you kind of hit on it. I mean, a lot of people in this community were part of this. We talked, I think it was Jerry earlier, talking about, he had a business, somebody else had a business, and all these business people that were working at these businesses in town were part of this. So it really is truly a community thing. So kind of talk a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
Well, my family has always served the community through the funeral business. My grandfather, my uncle, and I followed suit after college, and it was giving back to the community. That's what it was all about. That's what the Thompson family was about. And it was very satisfying. I got a lot of rewards from it, saved some lives, and had a lot of good friends in the rescue squad. And some I met after I got in, and some I knew before I got in, through, working with the fire department. Fire and rescue work very close together. And just serving the community is what it's all about.
A lot of these folks that we've talked to says it was a brotherhood. It was like a family. Kind of because you're running all these calls, but you have some downtime too, where you're spending a lot of time with each other. So was it a family?
Oh, absolutely. We were like brothers. We had very few women in the squad early on, but we were all tight. We all were fire and rescue. A lot of them were firefighters in the city or in the county, and that's what our interest was, serving the community any way we could. And this was a great way to do it. I got a lot of rewards, a lot of people that I met on calls that would come back and thank you for your service. It was just very rewarding.
Talk about how the community supported and maybe supports this.
Oh, the city supported us 100%. The fire department did. Of course, they were the dispatchers at the time. And, it was great. You walk down the street, when we had the fundraiser downtown, people would always stop and talk to you, pasting the dollar bills on the sidewalk. It was standing on the street corner with your fishnet, collecting donations. The city everybody, the whole community responded to us. And they knew we were the only organization available to help them in their time of need.
Talk a little bit about the equipment you guys had. I mean, you guys were funded by donations and things, yet you guys put together, an arsenal of stuff that you could take out.
Yeah, we had a great leadership that knew equipment. Harry and Gerald Snellins, they knew the equipment backwards and forwards. Gerald was a professional firefighter, became our fire chief. They knew the equipment. They designed the equipment, the specifications, got the bids, and we had a great heavy-duty crash truck. We had the only one around for a long time, and I took great pride in that piece of equipment.
Talk a little bit about, are there any specific calls that you remember that have just stuck with you and will always stick with you?
Yeah, Floyd Hicks and I responded to a church on a Sunday. We always ran Sunday mornings, and there was a elderly lady who was unconscious in the pew, and it was right over off Fall Hill Avenue. And we walked in the church with the cot, and the crowd, they were singing, the congregation was singing, and they all stepped aside and let us get to the pew and get the woman out on in the aisle there. And I started CPR, and we put her on the cot, and they kept on singing, and a few of the men helped us load her into the cot while I was doing CPR. And by the time we got to the hospital, which is only 2 blocks away, she'd come back around. And that was extremely rewarding to save a life. And that really sticks in my mind. There were some other accidents that stick in my mind that I really don't want to go into because they weren't good outcomes.
But my next question, I would imagine somebody who's never done it and would never do it, it takes a special person to do that, to go to these accidents, to help.
You're right there. Not everybody can stand, the blood in the guts and the critical situation that you're in. Life depends on what you do, and it's just not everybody can do it. And I was in the funeral business. I grew up in the funeral business, so I got to see a lot of it, sometimes firsthand. And it never really bothered me. I got used to it early on. And I could see through all that and do what I had to do to get the people to the hospital.
Are you proud of your service to this community?
Absolutely, I sure am.
What makes you so proud?
Well, you know, I gave back to the community, and that's the biggest part of what I'm about, is giving back to the community and helping people in their time of need. And it was very satisfying.
We've done a lot of these interviews, and I ask just about everybody. People are going to watch these, and what do you want them to know about this institution where we are right now? Fredericksburg Rescue School. What do you want people to know about it?
I want them to know that we're still needed, that I'm still a firefighter in the city, and they are constantly adding additional people to make up for the shortcomings of the squad when they can't respond. They're constantly adding medic crews, and you know, it really needs to continue. And we need support from the city and the fire department, and I don't think we're getting what we should be getting. That's been a big concern of mine, and as far as taxpayer dollars are concerned. And of course, I still live in the city, so I'm constantly aware of where our tax dollars are spent. And I'd love to see the squad continue to grow and serve the community.
What else, Steve?
How did you get that nickname Black Cloud?
I got the name Black Cloud because every time I walked in the door, the alarms went off. It was almost every time. I don't know whether I had a sixth sense or not, but a call would usually come in when I walked in the door.
So let me ask you this question. Would you rather be running calls, or would you rather be sitting in the station house? Not doing anything?
Oh, running calls.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. The brotherhood and the bonds that we formed while we were down waiting for a call was great, but running calls is what it was all about.
Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. By you, Steve? Yep. Good?
Yep.
Thanks, Wink.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.